Good morning, and it is a great honour to be speaking today at the QS Higher Education Summit for Asia Pacific in 2022. My name is Shane Dillon, and I'm a PhD candidate at the Bankwest Curtin Economics Centre at Curtin University in Australia, where I'm exploring the economic returns to international higher education participation and the role of world university rankings. Today I'll talk about how market networks will transform graduate employability. The presentation will explain what a market network is, how this can be applied to higher education and graduate employability, and then show how these networks are far more efficient than traditional education to employment pathways, give a brief history of how we built a market network at Cturtle, give some real-world examples of how this network has helped graduates around the world, and then finish with 7 reasons why I believe market networks will transform graduate employability. So what is a market network? They combine the identity and communication aspects of a personal network with the transaction focus of a marketplace. They must do 3 things. They must be able to pull producers and consumers to the platform, which enables interactions among them. It must be able to facilitate interactions by providing them with the tools and rules that make it easy for them to connect and encourage valuable exchanges. And they must be able to match producers and consumers effectively using information about each other to connect them in ways they will find mutually rewarding. What is unique about market networks is that they combine the main elements of both networks and marketplaces. They use workflow software to focus attention around longer-term projects, not just quick transactions, and they promote the service provider as a differentiated individual, helping to build longer-term relationships. They also use data to make smart connections at the right time. The traditional education to employment model is linear. You're a student, you go to university, you become an alumni, and you work at a company. And it's all normally in one city or one region. In modern education, there's far more nodes in a student's education and employment journey, as well as being global in context. You also have government, finance, internship stakeholders, mentors, professional certificates, online study, ed tech providers, and a whole range of new innovative education products such as boot camps, career accelerators, job simulators, short courses, and apprenticeships. As you can already start to see, as more nodes get added to the market network, the overall value of the ecosystem increases. This many-to-many transaction pattern is key. Cturtle is an n-sided marketplace. Transactions happen in a 360-degree pattern like a network. But they will come here with transacting in mind, connecting for long-term employment outcomes that involve multiple stakeholders, long relationship durations. And this makes Cturtle both a marketplace and a network. A market network often starts by providing a single transaction between a buyer, say a student, and a seller, a university, that lets them progress in their career journey. That same transaction model then also lets the student connect better with their network as it already exists, whether that be to alumni, employers, professional certificates, or other students, or both. Many of the people in these networks have been transacting with each other for years. However, bringing a data-driven market network improves the efficiency of making the right connections at the right time, with the most connections possible, establishing longer-term relationships between those in the network. By moving these connections and transactions into software, a market network makes it significantly easier for all stakeholders to achieve their goals and students to get the best employment outcomes. Nodes can also transform, for example, from a student to an alumni, to an employer or a mentor. Each node is its own network, with its own network effects humming away. But as we zoom out, we see all the different ways that each network can both be a supply and demand for other networks. And of course, the entire ecosystem as a whole is a network in itself. The combinatorial power of a market network is immense and can be harnessed if you have all the right ingredients for a healthy network and a thriving marketplace. So how did we build our market network? Well, it was, in all honesty, a little bit by accident. We started with international alumni, building an aggregate alumni network for returning international students focused on employment in Asia. We then added employers and government stakeholders, conducting research into international student employment outcomes and satisfaction, and exploring what factors influence international students recommending their university to future students. Then we added career-focused postgraduate course providers, using the education history and employment data on our members to recommend postgraduate courses to achieve their career goals. Then future students, domestic students and alumni, online course providers, professional certificates, internships, finance, PhD support, and much more. As the network grew, so did the increase in connections and the interactions between members. Some real-life examples that show the multi-network effect that modern graduates go through in achieving their education to employment goals. We helped an edtech company connect with international students in Asia, as well as mentors, industry stakeholders, government, and employers, helping the student to join a career accelerator and find the course to make a career pivot, and then deliver on the promise of education and get that student, graduate, the job they wanted in another country. In another case, we helped a gifted student in South Asia introducing to finance options to help them study abroad, apply to multiple universities, and connect with alumni to achieve their desired employment outcome in the country of education. Lastly, networks become most critical at that transaction point from education to employment, where who you know is often more important than what you know. We've helped domestic students in the USA connect with alumni, mentors, and employers around the world, connecting them with employment opportunities in the USA, Singapore, Africa, and London. Research on networking behavior, graduate employability, using a social capital perspective, shows that students who have access to a network of employers and support and advice mechanisms have greater access to information and resources, which gives them an advantage when seeking employment. So market networks are ideal for complex services. And these are the 7 reasons that I believe market networks will transform graduate employability. In the last decade, tech industry has been obsessed on demand marketplaces for quick transactions of simple services. Think something like Uber. Their success was based on commodifying the people on both sides of the marketplace. However, the highest value services, like education and employment, are neither simple nor objectively judged. They are more involved and longer term, and market networks are designed for these types of complex services. Number 2, people matter. With complex services like education, each student is unique and the employment outcomes they get matters. Would you hand over your future employment to just anyone? The people on both sides of these equations are not interchangeable. Each person brings unique opinions, expertise, and relationships to the transaction. A market network is designed to acknowledge that as a core tenet and provides a solution. Number 3, collaboration happens around an individual. For most complex services, multiple stakeholders collaborate among themselves and with a student over a period of time. The data and technology at the center of market networks focuses the action on a student's employment outcomes that can take years to complete. Number 4, market networks have unique profiles of the stakeholders involved. Using data on past employment outcomes with information unique to each student give the stakeholders involved a reason to come back and transact again. It captures part of their value and shares that in the network. Number 5, they help build long-term relationships. Market networks bring an abundance of stakeholders together using data to make connections, making them more useful to each over a longer term. Number 6, referrals flow from the data. In these networks, we can use data to make referrals more efficient and maximize benefit to all stakeholders. Lastly, number 7, they increase transaction velocity and satisfaction. By putting the network of education providers, employers, and students into a data-driven software, the market network increases transaction velocity for everyone. The market network increases graduate satisfaction by aligning multiple stakeholders on the graduate's employment success. Thanks a lot for your time today, and I think I've just made the time. Please feel free to get in contact with me at Shane@Cturtle or visit us at cturtle.co. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the conference.